Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred DLC review of the main campaign and the end game. I've spent 70 plus hours in the game, and it's time to talk about the current state of Diablo 4. So let's go. So the very first thing I wish to speak about is the campaign and what's actually new, and that would be the island of Skovos, where Lilith and Inarius made sanctuary, or should I say, mankind. Skovos is a new area in the game, and a new addition to the game as well would be the Warlock as a playable class in the campaign. Alright, so as far as campaign goes, I'll only say a few words and be done with it. If I rated campaign, main vanilla campaign of Diablo, 3 out of 10, the first DLC with Kurast here in the Huntiu, 2 out of 10. Now for the story, I can give 4 out of 10 for the Scholars. So it's slightly better. It was complete garbage. Now it's slightly better, but it's still laughable. It's still Marvel-like approach. It has nothing to do with Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. The best parts actually in campaign was when they used music from Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 in some segments of campaign. That was, believe it or not, the best part. As far as the campaign goes, it's full of cinematics. Mephisto is back, and he is obviously a mockery of Jesus Christ. They're making parody out of Jesus Christ, out of Mephisto. And he talks a lot. Writing is extremely bad. There's a lot of empty conversations during the campaign. Campaign is really boring, even though the Skovos looks amazing to traverse, travel, and so on, with new dungeons, new bosses, and whatnot. It's still very boring. Now, as far as writing goes, I'll say one thing that I clearly remember, because most of it was bad. But what I actually remember is Mephisto is talking to people, at some town square as a wannabe Jesus, and he's a prophet now, okay? And people are gathering around him. They all bow to Mephisto, and here comes the main character in the middle of that crowd, pointing finger at Mephisto and saying, "That's not a prophet, that's Mephisto." That's the writing in the game. I believe if they took like 10 AI versions of story, all 10 of them would end up better than whoever wrote this DLC. Now, that all aside, because no one plays Diablo 4 for campaign, I just spoke about it because it's out, and I'll never speak about it ever again. It doesn't exist as far as I can tell. They added the boss fight against Mephisto, which is extremely disappointing in the campaign, but it's one of the best boss fights in action RPG history. That fight was done extremely well for the part of the endgame. And now we're going into the endgame. This is the best version of Diablo 4 ever. So it took them 13 seasons to make this game actually quite good. Now, what does it mean? It means now it's like 8 out of 10 action RPG. The game is much bigger than it used to be, and a lot of things changed. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot, or should I say everything changed. And you can clearly tell that Blizzard fired all of the ex-devs for Diablo 4, and there's some new developers now in the game, and they're doing drastic changes to every single element that exists in the game, which is a very good thing, because now Diablo 4 is actually fun to play. I can't believe what I'm saying, but yeah, now Diablo 4 is fun to play. Shall we talk about what's bad first? It's the reworked skill tree. on every single class. I was excited about it, and then I realized after 3 minutes that the skill tree is not reworked, skill tree is stupefied. They removed all skill points, and now you only have active skills and nothing else but active skills. This is one extremely bad move, and I hope to see changes here because this is the worst change ever in Diablo history. Now, aside from the skill tree, Paragon mostly remained the same, and I got nothing to say about these because all of that remained the same, including the special abilities for every single class and so on. Archetypes, all of that remained the same. Nothing changed there. What changed because of the skill tree is itemization. Now uniques can roll with different stats. They're not fixed anymore, they can roll with everything. Same like legendaries and ancestral legendaries. Uniques are now quite good on every single class. But I still think that uniques are lacking in the game. Every class gotta have at least 20 more uniques, so every build is valid. Right now, we have a big problem because every single class has only 2 meta builds, and all of the other skills, all of the other builds are not for pit tier 100 plus. And that's the reality. If you want the hardest content in a game, you gotta play meta builds. Very low amount of meta builds, 7, 8 classes, multiply that with 2, 14 to 18 builds that you can play to be powerful. Everything else, it's underwhelming. Now, because they changed skill tree, they removed all skills and all of those things that were on the gear before in the previous 13 seasons. Now you can't roll those passives anymore, and that also makes bunch of mythics completely useless. Okay, there's like 3 out of 10 mythics right now in a game that are actually useful. Everything else is useless. And now, considering that I said all the bad things, you might wonder, so why do I say this is a good game now that it's actually fun? Because there are other changes, a lot change in the game, and I don't know from where to start. Everything in this game now makes sense. Every single content in the game is valid to play, and it brings materials, items, everything that you need to advance. Seasonal challenges are way much better. They added 12 Torment difficulties, okay, from like, I don't know, it was 4. I think it was 4. Now it's 12 Torment difficulties to unlock, which also makes this game drastically harder and 10 times better. There's more things to do. And when I say more things to do, that goes for the word table, the newly added word table and the activities. For the Trio Whispers, Nightmare Dungeons, Helltide, Undercity, Lair Bosses, Infernal Hordes. You do those with Tyrael, you get skill points, you invest skill points, and it changes every single event in the game. For example, you get an extra cash, you get an extra portal, you get, I don't know what, extra rewards, extra this, extra that, ambush, monster power raises, and so on. Everything is different. And when I say everything, I mean, for example, Nightmare Dungeons. They were by far the worst content in the game. I hated Nightmare Dungeons in Diablo 4. And now, Nightmare Dungeons are my favorite content in the game. Why? First, they offer difficulty, because now you can go up to Torment 12. They're hard to play. Second, they offer great rewards. Third, they offer multiple things that you can farm, from gems to gold to items through, I don't know what, obols, everything that exists in a game, and you always need resources. Why? Because crafting is changed, and crafting is extremely pricey. To craft all the items, to mix them out, and so on, you're gonna need a lot of resources. And this time, you won't end up with 3 billion gold and whatnot. If you play the game, if you wanna mix items and so on, you're always gonna lack gold. You're always gonna lack all of these materials for upgrade, okay? And you'll always have something to do. It never ends. You need like 100 hours to actually be rich, which also prolongs the season and the game time. How much time is required to actually finish the game? Of course, when you run with a second character, it goes way much faster because you got, you know, the resources. But for the first character, it takes quite a lot to create a proper build, especially if you're playing blind without builds. It's quite a hard game in that case. But if you play a meta build, then it's a bit easier. So, on top of what I said, for every single content in the game, Nightmare Dungeons are changed drastically. Trio Whispers now drops better, and Trio Whispers right now, or should I say bounties from Diablo 3, this is like the most important thing to do for the experience. Alright, Nightmare Dungeons are all around most important. You get everything out of it. Gold, gems, obols, materials, experience. Bounties, definitely the best for the experience. Helltide, great for experience, also great for every kind of equipment in the game that you can get. The Undercity targeted farming, for example, like farming, I don't know, mythic uniques or talismans. Now, speaking about talismans, they also added sets in the game, which I'll talk about later. Lair bosses are changed drastically. They're actually challenging. They live a lot. You don't open with boss materials anymore. Now you use boss materials in Horadric, newly added Horadric Cube, while you open lair boss loot with keys that they drop when you kill them. Infernal Hordes also drastically changed, and the pit is also drastically changed. Now it spawns bosses like it used to spawn them in Diablo 3. So this game is basically now Diablo 3 on steroids. Now, why do I say so? This thing, the war table, is actually the altar from Diablo 3. Kinda looks different than the altar, but the reality is this is the altar from Diablo 3. Bounties are there from Diablo 3. Bosses in the pit spawn like exactly the same like in Diablo 3. This game is a better looking Diablo 3 right now, which is a good thing because Diablo 3 was more fun than Diablo 4 in its previous 13 seasons. Okay, now Diablo 4 is better than Diablo 3, only now. And believe it or not, I had more fun in Diablo 4 than in Path of Exile 2. And you gotta realize that I got 10,000 hours in Path of Exile 1. I got around 500 hours in Path of Exile 2. I played every single action RPG in the existence, okay, from Voltsen, Max, Dungeon Siege 1, 2, 3, Torchlight, Titan Quest, Inquisitor Martyr. Every single action RPG that exists, I played it. My favorite game of all time is Diablo 1. And I truly believe that I had more fun in Diablo 4 Endgame for this season. I can't even call it a season, it's a DLC. Season is about to come in 2 months from now. So I had more fun in this DLC Endgame of Diablo 4 than I had in Path of Exile 2 Early Access, and that's a reality. Now, what's also new? The new devs in Diablo 4 finally realized that this game needs, guess what? Sets. Because they probably fucked it up, in the previous 3-4 years when they were creating the game, because there are no belts, there are no shoulders, itemization was stupefied and what's not. They decided to opt in for talismans. And now talismans, every class has 3 to 4 sets that you can equip that drastically change builds. And this is how it looks like. Same like in Diablo 3. I wish to see that on items. Okay, addition of a belt here, addition of a shoulders up there, and then it would be brilliant. But hey, talismans, they also do the job, as well as the Horadric seals. Okay, so you got options. There's meat in the game. There's a lot to do, and to top it all off, there is a Horadric cube, or should we say, crafting is introduced in Diablo 4. It's not only the blacksmith anymore, where you temper and masterwork. Now you temper and masterwork on blacksmith. Then you go to the cube to finish those items up, transfigure them, and whatnot. We're gonna check it out immediately. This would be the famous Horad. Also, the thing that's very, 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 very bad in this season is optimization. The game works like crap, complete crap. You see how it bugs out my camera as well while transitioning through portals, loading screens, and so on. And it's a known problem. Blizzard is aware of it. But I gotta say, that's also a very bad thing. The game works like garbage. They probably gonna optimize for the next season. So this would be the famous Horadric Cube, and everything that you can do. You can reroll sets, you can craft uniques, you can reroll legendaries, you can transfigure them, you can add new powers to mythics, to uniques, to ancestrals and whatnot. You can craft runes, you can do a lot of things on a Horadric Cube, and Horadric Cube changed this game drastically. Now, why do I say change this game drastically? You remember how it used to be. You pick up items, you see legendaries, you meld them. When you see Ancestral with a star, that's how it was in 13 seasons. You keep it, and then you hope for the bigger amount of stars, for the stronger Ancestral now. That's not the case anymore in Diablo. Now you're gonna collect yellows and blues, and from yellows and blues, you're gonna create legendaries. Because of the Horadric Cube, gives you a lot of options. Now you can craft a lot of items. That requires, of course, materials, a Horadric Cube materials that you can see over here, and they're quite valuable. The game advanced a lot. It's going into the right direction. War plans are absolutely great material, but I can't say how the rewards are great. They're not, but they're good to level up the right part here and to get more when you play the map than the actual reward from Tyrael. Tyrael's rewards are meh, whatever. Okay, if you can get some materials out of him, that's fine. But items, no. They don't drop like they used to drop. Loot drop is nerfed. Experience gain is nerfed. You don't scale that much like you used to, so it takes more playtime to scale up. And I don't know if I forgot something. I believe that's about it. There is, of course, a new pinnacle boss in Mephisto. There is this new content here with the Echoing Hatred, a new type of dungeon, alright? And now when you enter the game, you just don't know what you're gonna play first, which is a very good thing. Should you go with Infernal Hordes, chase bosses, go with Nightmare Dungeons, chase resources, do the war plans with Tyrael, do that specific content with Echoing Hatred. You got options, man. You didn't have options before. And now you don't know what you want to play first. So, and that's a very good thing for Diablo. Also, as I said, seasonal rewards are really great. They're really advanced. And the game is going into the right direction. Definitely is going into the right direction this time. And I had a lot of fun. And I'm still playing the game, by the way. I just wanted to make a shorter video and speak a bit about Diablo 4. Basically everything that I said like 3 years ago when I was flaming Diablo 4 on all cylinders, all of those things that I said that should be changed, like 70% changed. Like I said, it's gonna change. That's what actually happened. If you watch my older videos, you'll see that most of the things that I said are actually changed now. And I guess they're gonna change even further. As I said, we got some minor problems right now. Stupefied skill 3 would be the number 1, and everything else doesn't matter that much. I would say that Stupefied skill 3 is the biggest problem in the game, but everything else, really good. Diablo 4, I think is going in the right direction. Finally, it's going in the right direction. There's a lot of pinnacle bosses. All of those pinnacle bosses scale with Torment, so they are challenging no matter where you are, from Torment 1 to Torment 12. This is a very good game right now, and I highly recommend it to everyone. Absolutely to everyone. Especially for those that are not satisfied enough with Path of Exile 2. This is it now. Now's the time to play Diablo 4. I was flaming Diablo 4 for 3 years. I said the worst possible things that exists about Diablo 4. And I always said how the game has potential, but completely idiotic developers. This time it's fine. It's really fine. And I hope they continue like this. They can make it drastically better. What the game now lacks. More events, like you see this. Now this is what Blizzard needs to realize. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 more, man. 14 events are needed. Then your game is gonna be great. Bigger skill tree, more items. Next season, introduce, I don't know, 10 uniques per character. 10 new aspects for legendaries per character. Make every build valid. Not all builds are valid. For example, skill tree, Warlock. Nothing is valid, man. Everyone is playing either, where was it? Apocalypse Warlock or Claws. Where are Claws? Dread Claws. Those are the two builds that work. Not all of the other skills. Everything that you see doesn't work. I made a Terror Swarm. I played enough meta build. And I reached pit tier 100, which is probably the biggest success I ever had in a video game. As you can see, I'm on 105, but I finished tier 100. I unlocked Torment 12 with off meta build. I wanted to play Terror Swarm. I maxed the living shit out of it, but it was painful. So Warlock has only 2 meta builds. They need to make every skill valid, man. Why do you have all of these skills if nothing is valid but 2? That's also the big problem of Diablo. If I wanna play, I don't know, Profane Sentinel Warlock, I wanna see it capable of doing pit tier 120 minimum. Minimum. If I play Terror Swarm like I play it right now, with all of my mythics, all gear upgraded and everything maxed out, I don't wanna barely finish pit tier 100. I wanna stamp pit tier 100. Now if I transfer with same itemization, I don't know, on Dread Claws, I'm gonna stamp the game. I don't want to. I really don't want to. I don't wanna play a meta build. I wanna every build in a game valid. Now that doesn't apply only for Warlock. It applies for every single class in a game. Barbarian, 2 meta builds. 1 meta. Whirlwind. Everything else doesn't exist in a game. Sorcerer, lightning. All other builds don't exist in a game. That's very bad for the game. If you have, like, I don't know, 4 times 6, 4 times 5, it doesn't matter. If you have 20 skills in a game, 15 should work per season. Not 1 or 2. 15. So skill tree and meta builds are the biggest problem in Diablo 4 right now. Because not everything is valid. For those to be valid, itemization again has to change. More aspects, more uniques, more mythics. And then the game is gonna be great. And of course, as I said, more events to play, more activities. Anyways, good season. I had a lot of fun. I'm still playing it. And I highly recommend it. I was speaking about what's bad, but I also said that a lot of things change for the good. And this is the most fun that you can get out of an action RPG. Thanks for watching.